Hi everyone, Marie here from Marie Cooks Up a New Life. Here to share another video with you today. If you're new to my channel, welcome. It's nice to have you here. If you're an old visitor and you've been here before, welcome back. Nice to have you return. You can see I'm in a very festive mood today, and that probably gives you a little bit of a clue as to what I'm going to make here today. You probably thought I had taken the road, I was a bit absent for about a week or so, but life just construed to get in the way of things. And the recipe that I want to share with you is, well, it's not complicated. There's a lot of steps involved in it. So I wanted to make the video on a day when I knew I was going to have the time to do that properly and do the recipe justice. On this channel, I like to share recipes that I think you might enjoy, recipes that I enjoy, simple things, seasonal things, nothing too awfully complicated, just things that I enjoy. I like cooking. I think you might like cooking, little tidbits of my life, hints and tips, that sort of thing. Anyhow, today I thought I would show you how to bake a Christmas cake. Now, Christmas cakes are something that is very, very popular over in the UK. I used to make one every year. This is the first one that I'm making since I've returned to Canada. So, this is a big, huge step for me. Christmas cakes are typically, they're like a fruit cake, and most people put them together about mid to late November. Actually, tomorrow is known as Stir Up Sunday in the UK, but that's the day that they normally make their Christmas puddings. Like I said, they'll do their Christmas cakes mid to late November. That way they can feed them with brandy in the weeks prior to the big holiday. And they typically would decorate them just prior to Christmas. And they get all kinds of they go way out decorating their cakes. They're very beautiful. I'll share some links in the description box below to some of the ones that I've decorated in the past. So without further ado, let's get started on baking our Christmas cake. So I'm going to move you down here so that you can see what I'm doing. The first thing that you're going to want to do when making this cake is to prepare your pan. Now I have here, I'm just making a medium-sized cake. This is a 9-inch round deep pan, and what you're going to want to do is to grease it very well. So I've got some butter here, softened butter, and I'm going to grease my pan really well. Now I could have done this ahead of time, but I really wanted to be able to show you the different steps. The cake itself is not that difficult or hard to do. So you're going to want to grease your pan really well with the butter. Got softened butter here. I just use salted butter because that's what I have. So grease it really well. Now I have 2 rounds. Oh no, I'm not going to do that first. I've got a double thickness of parchment paper that should be the right size to go around the inside of this pan. Now, as you can see here I folded it over 1 inch on the bottom here, and I've made little cuts up to that point, and that's what's going to help you fit this sheet of paper into the pan. So you're going to want to put this in the pan first. And because you've got those little cuts on the bottom, this will fit in quite nicely and work its way well around the circumference of this pan. I don't know if you can see that, but there you go. I've also got 2 rounds of parchment paper. So you're going to fit them into this pan as well. You're going to want to butter your parchment paper. I'm going to just butter this first. Oh, don't be, it's giving me a hard time here. See what I mean about getting the cake ready. It's more complicated than actually making the cake. And that's why I wanted to have a specific amount of time to be able to do that. So you fit your 2 rounds of parchment paper into the pan, into the bottom of the pan. It might be easier to spray, and I have done that in the past, but today I thought I would actually butter it. And now I'm wishing I had sprayed it. Anyhow, there's one in, and here goes the second layer. So you're probably wondering why 2 layers of parchment paper, and that is because you want to have your cake really, it helps to prevent your cake from becoming too dry when it's baking. You know, you've probably heard a lot of people will complain, like fruitcake. It's a funny thing. People either love it or loathe it. We happen to love it in my family. It's something that we've always enjoyed. I've been making them for years, way before I even moved over to the UK. I made my father's wedding cake when he got married the second time, or the groom's cake, which was a fruit cake. Okay, so this is buttered. I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to move this over to the side. So it's buttered and lined, perfectly ready to go. And you might think that's a lot of paper sitting on top, but trust me, you need it. Okay, next, I'm so tongue-tied today, I'm sorry about that. You'll want to have 225 grams of plain all-purpose flour for this, which is the equivalent of, I've got it written down here, 2 cups plus 1 teaspoon. And to that, you're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg, a 1/2 teaspoon of ground mixed spice, and a pinch of salt. So I'm adding that there, and I'm going to give that a good whisk together so that it's well combined. And then I'm going to set it aside. Now, mixed spice. This is a very British ingredient. I happen to buy mine on Amazon, but I also have a recipe on my page where you can make your own. It is not the same as apple pie spice. It's not the same as pumpkin pie spice. There are different spices in it. It's primarily used in baking, but in this there's coriander, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, fennel, and clove. So as you can see, it definitely is not your pumpkin pie spice. Anyhow, I will leave a link to my recipe for it down below, or I'll actually leave the recipe below for you to make your own. It's just a matter of stirring some things together. Okay, so I have my flour sort of whisked together. You can also sift it together. I'm just going to set that aside for the moment. I have here 225 grams of butter that's been softened at room temperature, and that is the equivalent of a scant cup. I'm using weights for this because this is a British recipe, but I've determined to convert them as best as possible to North American measures. Typically, I bake by weight because it's much more accurate, but I'm sharing both measures. So here you have a scant cup of softened butter. To that, you're going to add 225 grams, or 1 cup plus 1/2 tablespoon of soft brown sugar, light brown sugar. So that would be 1.5 half a tablespoon of packed brown sugar. Now it's going to be noisy here for a minute, so bear with me. You're going to want to cream that together until it's well combined. So, are you a fruitcake lover or loather? If you don't like it, what is it about it that you don't like? If you love it, what is it that you do like? This is, sorry for my bowl here, this is the largest bowl that I have, and I'm going to need quite a large one for this, so I'm just getting this incorporated here. Do you make a Christmas cake every year? Or do you buy a Christmas cake? What's your favorite thing that you like to bake for Christmas? Speed that up there a little bit so that it gets really, truly mixed in, nice and fluffy. There you go, light and fluffy. Let me get this out of the way. Now, before I even started, I should have shown you my fruit mixture. You'll need to put your fruit mixture together the night before. Oh, that smells lovely. And this is the fruit mixture. And I've put this together the night before. And it's been macerating with a small amount of brandy overnight. And this is 450 grams of currants, 175 grams of raisins, 175 grams of sultanas, 50 grams of glacé cherries, and 50 grams of candied citrus peel. So the North American measurements will be below it. But this has been marinating overnight in 3 fluid ounces or 89 mils of brandy. And I didn't spare the expense on the brandy. I bought French brandy, and that's going to come in handy over the next few weeks as I feed my cake every day, which will help to keep it nice and moist and flavor it for the holidays. So you've got your butter and sugar creamed together, and you're going to start adding your eggs, one at a time. I have 4 large eggs here, and you will add them one at a time. I'm just breaking them into a bowl separately to make sure that they're okay, because I'm not sure how old these are. You want to make sure each one is incorporated before you add the next. There's one. I've never been able to do that chef trick of breaking an egg with one hand. It's just something that's always escaped me. I don't have that talent. I was watching Gordon Ramsay and Matthew McConaughey cook in a little video yesterday, and they were cracking the eggs with one hand. And I thought, whoa, good for you. I wish I could do that. Here comes the 3rd egg. And the 4th. Now you don't want this mixture to curdle while you're beating it, and this is the last that I'll need this. And if you do find that it does look like it's curdling, just add a spoonful of your flour mixture to it. And that will take away the curdling of it. So now you're going to fold in your flour to this lovely creamed mixture. Remember, folding is giving it a swipe and then cut. Swipe and cut. You want to make sure that's well mixed together. So it's completely incorporated. This is a big, nice big spatula. It's the biggest one that I have. My friend Jackie gave it to me when I was moving into my place. She gave me some of her extra things because she knew I didn't really have anything. Now that you've got the flour incorporated, I have 2 tablespoons of, well, I'm using molasses here because that's what I have. I don't have dark treacle. The original recipe calls for dark treacle, but I'm using molasses, which is not quite as strong as dark treacle, but it'll do. 2 tablespoons. So you want to fold that in to your fruitcake batter. Now comes the fun part. We're going to add the fruit. You're going to stir in all of that fruit and any liquid that might be left in the bowl. Oh, this smells good already. So that gets stirred in along with the finely grated zest of 1 lemon and 1 orange. Along with a 1/4 cup or 50 grams of chopped almonds. I didn't have any almonds, so I've got macadamia nuts here. But I'm sure the cake will forgive me. So this gets all folded in until it's well combined. You can see why I needed a large bowl here. I hope my family enjoys this cake. The whole time that I was living in the UK, I didn't have any family over there to help share my Christmas cake with. It was just myself and my husband and friends, neighbors, what have you. But I would bake one every year because it was something that my husband really loved, and I confess I love it too. It's getting kind of hard to fold now. I'm going to go to my spoon. Just get that all incorporated. You don't want like any big bits, empty bits of fruit in there that haven't been mixed into the batter. This is quite a stiff batter, but that's okay. There's actually more fruit in this cake than there is batter. And that's the way I like it. So let's see if I got this all mixed in. That's hard work. Yes, it's all mixed in. Okay, so now I've got my pan. I'm going to start spooning the batter into this cake tin. And I like to just sort of like, I don't put it all in one place at once. I just sort of distribute it. A dab here, a dab there. Until I get it all in. And it will actually probably fill your cake tin, but that's okay because you've got all this extra paper on the sides. And there's no like baking powder or anything in this cake. It's not self-rising flour. It's just plain flour, so it's not meant to rise anyways. I tell you, my hands are really tired after this. That's how you can tell I'm getting old. My hands get tired now when I do things like this. So I'm going to just smooth it out in the tin so it covers all the inside and it's an even level throughout. Now in the old days, they used to wrap little trinkets in wax paper and parchment paper and bury them in the cake for people to find. Sort of like a little surprise on Christmas Day. Anyhow, there it is in the pan. Now you'd think, just let me wash my hands here for a minute. Sorry about that. I hate having messy hands. You think you've got your cake wrapped enough, but you're not. You were only just beginning. Now you're going to want to wrap your cake tin in 2 layers of newsprint. So this goes on the outside of the cake tin again. This helps to insulate your cake, helping to keep it lovely and moist. This is the hardest part, I think, is getting this paper around the outside. Part of me wants to tape it, but I know that the tape would probably just burn in the oven, so I won't. So, let's see. I'm going to put my bottle of salt there to hold that in place. And my bottle of brandy on this side to hold it in place. Actually, this isn't doing a great job, is it? But that's okay, because now I have some baker's twine that I'm going to use to tie that paper around the cake tin. Isn't she cute here wearing her little turban? So there we go. Tying it on. It gives new meaning to you want to make sure you've got it around the tin and not the top part of the cake. That gives new meaning to the words tie it on, doesn't it? There. If I had another person here, I'd have them put their thumb here to help to hold this in place while I knot it, but I don't, so I can't. So there my cake is all ready to put in the oven. Now you can see why I wanted a bit of time to be able to do this properly. So I'm going to put this onto a baking tray. Sorry for the noise. Put that back in. What do they call that? Murphy's Law? This is just one of those days where everything's conspiring against me. Anyhow, it's going along with the gloomy weather. Put my prepared cake on a baking tray, and that's going to go into a very slow oven. The temperature, which will be 140 degrees centigrade, which is 275 degrees Fahrenheit. Now it's going to bake in the oven on the lowest shelf of the oven for 4 to 4.5 hours. You will know that it's done when a skewer inserted in the middle comes out clean. Now, this one reason why you want to pick a day when you don't have a lot on to bake this is because this is going to hold your oven up for quite some time. And you don't necessarily have to keep an eye on it at the beginning part of it, so you could go out and do a bit of shopping or what have you. But towards the end of it, you will want to keep an eye on it. So I'm going to get this over here ready to go into the oven, and then I'll flip you back up to talk to you a little bit more if you can stand it. Sorry. Oh, that was quite a process. Anyhow, that is how you put together a Christmas cake ready for baking. I'm not going to make you hang around for 4 3/4 hours to wait while it bakes until it's finished. But I will point you to my blog page where you can see what the cake looks like when it's done. And I'm going to do another video at a future time, closer to Christmas, where I'll show you how I decorate the cake. Now, after this is baked, you're going to want to feed it. I just wrap it in cheesecloth. I soak the cheesecloth in a little bit of brandy and wrap the cake and store it in an airtight container. And then each day, in the days running up to Christmas, I add a little teaspoon or tablespoon of brandy and poke it with a skewer, and the brandy soaks into the cake, which makes for a really nice fruit cake. It's nice and moist, and it tastes lovely, and it's just perfect for decorating. So that's my video for the day. Sorry for any of the noise and mishaps and whatever. It was a day where, things just, life happens. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you'll be inspired to want to make your own Christmas cake. And I hope you'll come back to watch when I go to decorate this cake. I'm going to be enjoying the smell of this cake baking for most of the day today, and that's a lovely thing. You can't complain about that. So I'm going to say goodbye now in the way that I normally do, by telling you that I love you and God loves you too. And oh yeah, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, what have you. You know I love to hear from you. Bye-bye for now.